Hey, and welcome to the 2021 Bestball draft sheet. This is just a little video walkthrough, walk you through kind of the highlights of it. You could see some idea of how to use it if this is something you'd be interested in, but also some ways, some tips to make it go a little easier, especially if you're not the kind of person who likes to read the written up walkthrough that I did on the site. So this is where this is going to be kind of your homepage, if you will, for this draft sheet. This houses the big board, which has all your players ranked in total points. That's what you see on the far left here, right here, and then also we break those players out by position. The color coding is all the same formatting. So basically, what that means is the greenest players across all the positions are going to be the ones with the highest point totals. Up here, you can see individual projections for pitchers and hitters. Using these drop downs, you can select, whatever player you want. It'll bring up what the projection is for that player. And same thing with the pitcher. Over here on the right, this is going to be the league totals. So as the draft goes on, it will update the projected points based on the projections that we're going to input later. Is going to project to say, who has the most projected points. You can kind of see the hitter and the pitcher split. It's just kind of nice to see where your team falls as the draft is going on. And then down here, this is going to be an individual team analysis section, and this will have some information populated in it once we put some draft results in here. But there's some good stuff here. And then you have the link to the user guide, and this is going to be the typed up user guide if you need to refer to it for questions or anything like that. So going over here, so this is where we're going to put the draft results. So right now it's empty. This is how your spreadsheet will come. So I'll show you how to put draft results in there. Thankfully, Fantrax has a method that makes it a little less cumbersome than if we were to hand enter them, even though it's still a smidge clunky. But I'll show you how to do that. It's a pretty painless process. So you go over to the Fantrax website, and we'll go to the homepage so you can see what it's like. So you go to the homepage. Up here, you're going to click in one of your leagues. So I'll click in a league that I've already done. And a couple arrows down, we're looking for the draft results page. And once we get there, we can download a spreadsheet. So this is just going to be a spreadsheet of the results. You can go ahead and save that. And it's going to be in a CSV file, which is something that Excel can open, or you could put it in Google Sheets if you need to. So we're going to open that up here. All right, and here is our draft results. So now I can just copy these draft results, and I can paste them into the spreadsheet. So we'll always make sure we're starting from this A1. And we'll give that a second. So there we go. And now it's going to go through and update some stuff. And now we pull through, and all those players that have been drafted have now been pulled off the sheet. You'll notice I'm using right now the projections that are in here are Steamer 600. So they're going to have guys like Justin Verlander, who's hurt, things like that. But you can see our team is now updated. So now we have all the players we've drafted, and we have all the different positions, how many players at each position. So again, this just helps you kind of keep track of things as the draft is going on. All right. So the next page I'm going to show you. One note about the draft results. This yellow tab, this yellow column, this is a column that I use for some formulas and things. If you type over a formula, it is going to give you a warning. So I'll show you here. It's going to say, hey, you shouldn't edit that. And you don't want to edit that. But for whatever reason, if you accidentally forget, you hit OK, you're like, oops, I did it. Just hit the undo button. That'll fix that. No problem. So the next pages I'm going to show you is the projection inputs. So we have a hitter projection input and a pitcher projection input. Now, what's cool about these is you can use any projection from Fangraphs. So you can use Steamer 600, you can use straight Steamer, depth charts, the bat when it comes out, or you can use ATC, Zips, any of those that you want, whatever your preference is. You just go out to Fangraphs, you download it, and you copy and paste it here. One thing I do want to note is it's always important before you copy in new projections, go ahead and just delete the old projections. So I just selected them all, and I'm going to delete. Now, it's a lot there, so it's going to take a second. But then we can go over to the Fangraphs website. Definitely support Fangraphs. Shout out to them. If you're not a member, definitely get a membership there. The fact that you can come out and get free projections and use it in all your baseball stuff is fantastic. So definitely want to support them. So let's say this time I'm going to go ahead and put the depth charts projections in. So I'll do depth charts and I'll download the batters. So we hit the export button, and again, this is gonna put it into a CSV file, which you can open in Excel or in Google Sheets, whatever your preference is. I'm gonna show Excel because it's easier. And so we're just gonna copy all the columns here. A couple different ways you can do it, like that. You can manually select them all, but now we've got them copied, and we're gonna go ahead and paste them right here. And you could hit paste values or paste format. Either way is fine. It's not, you don't need to do anything specific there. All right, so all that information's there. Now let's do the same thing for the pitchers. We'll go through and delete the info that's there now. The reason is because different times the projections have a different number of players in them. If you don't delete the old information, it could lead to some duplicate players and that kind of thing. So we'll go ahead and grab the pitchers, and we'll export that. Again, it's the same process here. And it's going to open it up in our little Excel file. Copy and paste these. Come on. The projections that were in there before were the Steamer 600, which it projects like a few thousand players, versus most of the Fangraphs who use the depth charts projections or the ATC or the BAT. They're not going to have as many players, so the spreadsheet will run a little smoother if you're using one of those projections. And right now, it is. Here we go. It is just waiting for us, and we'll hit paste. Oop, something didn't catch. Sorry about that. So let's grab those again. And we'll let those paste, and then we'll be able to go back and see those updates will have pulled to the front of the spreadsheet after it does a little processing, and we'll be able to see those projections flow through. So we're going to give that a second to work. There we go. All right, now once this is done up here, it's going to kind of walk through. There we go. This is a projected players that are remaining, the highest projected players that are left. Okay, and we see I mentioned earlier, now we've got team data in here that's flowing through here, so that's good to see. The last thing I will show you, and this one is a completely optional page, but if you're looking to add a little depth, I think it's really good. This is you can add a custom projection, or if there's a player not showing up in the projections that you think that should show up. Sometimes this happens because I have a master sheet of players that shows like their Fangraphs IDs and their Fantrax player names and their Fantrax position. And sometimes, there may be a player you're interested in that is not on my radar, so it's not on my sheet. So for instance, if you have a player that's over here in these projections, maybe he's a prospect or something that, just isn't showing up. What you can do is you can actually add that player here. You just need to go to Fangraphs, get their Fangraphs ID, the Fantrax name, or the Fantrax position. Or even easier than that, if there's a player not showing up that you think you should show up, just email me, hit me up on Twitter. I'm happy to just add that to the master sheet, so then we don't have to worry about it. That kind of helps everybody. But if you're so inclined, you can do this. But the other thing you can do is you can do a custom projection. So let's say I want to adjust, who would be a good example? Let's say I want to adjust Aaron Nola. All right, so I'm going to grab Aaron Nola. You can type his name, or you can, copy and paste is all I'm doing here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's just try to type it. All right, I'll go over to Fantrax, get Aaron Nola's Fantrax ID. That's very important because that's going to drive the projections. So we need to make sure we have that number. His ID is right up here, so we can grab it right there. That the other way we could do it is we could go over to the projection input tab. We could find Aaron Nola's name. So let's see, there's Aaron Nola's name. And if we go over, that's his player ID. Okay. And go back to custom. And then his position is pitcher. And we're going to add a custom projection. So, Fangraphs has him, for 200 innings pitched, 218 strikeouts, you know, so many walks, quality starts, that kind of thing. I decide, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and change that. We're gonna say he's a Hercules, and he's gonna pitch 250 innings. He's gonna get 45 wins. He's gonna get 50 quality starts and 300 Ks. Whatever you want. Obviously, this is not realistic. Please don't do this. And he's not going to give up any walks or hits. He's obviously not going to have any saves. It is important if you're going to do this, you need to make sure you input all of the projection. Anything you leave blank, it's not going to count towards your score. But now this custom projection is going to replace the Fangraphs projection in your draft board, and it'll pull over. And so that way, if you have a player that you're higher on than the whatever projection system you used then you can adjust that. Okay. One thing I do want to note, I think is a good place to talk about it, is the quality starts. That most of the Fangraph projection systems, I believe all of them, do not use quality starts in that download. So I've had to manually put in some quality starts projections. It's using a simple 3-year regression. So definitely look through those quality start projections. The best way to do that is to, just look at some of these pictures and see if a player, if it makes sense. The ones you really want to maybe look at are like young pitchers who don't have established track records. Regression is going to struggle to grab the quality starts for them. So that's just something I want to give you a heads up on. Just trying to make do the best we can. If for some reason you said, hey, you know what, I changed my mind, Aaron Nola's projection is fine, but we just go ahead and unclick the custom projection, and you can delete that or you can leave it there. Either way, it's not going to grab it anymore. So you can do the same thing for hitters. As long as you've got this checked and you've got information filled out here, that new custom projection is going to flow through to your draft sheet. So that's the basics of the draft sheet. I know I kind of flew through that. Definitely, if you want to go to the user guide, I've got all this typed out. I've got some GIFs, some pictures that'll kind of help you maybe see a little bit more. Things will make a little bit more sense, but definitely use the sheet. You're going to have questions. Please hit me up on Twitter. If you feel comfortable that way, everybody can kind of see it and you can kind of talk through it. If not, you can DM me or you can send me an email. My email is up here on the user guide. I hope you find this sheet helpful. I think it's a good way to kind of help people take their drafting, specifically their Fantrax Bestball drafting to another level. So appreciate you checking it out.